All right, before we get to the close here, there's one other issue that I need to address, and that is this idea that's being swung around like a big club on the other side of the aisle, and it's this idea that's out there. It's called the God of the Gaps. It's out there. You know, look it up if you need to or whatever. But anyhow, the idea of the God of the Gaps is this. It's that the human race, humanity, has consistently posited a creator or a god or the gods when we come to the end of our human reason, when we come to the end of our human understanding. You know, thundering and lightning. You know, Thor and Zeus, the gods, are having a family squabble again. We don't understand what's going on, so we invoke deity. We invoke God. And then along comes, greater understanding. We got lightning and thunder figured out. So God gets pushed further and further out. I mean, Sir Isaac Newton, invoked the God of the Gaps. Arguably one of the most brilliant men to show up throughout all human history. I mean, this guy developed the entire field of mathematics to understand gravity. But he could not explain, with the math that he had and that he had developed, he could not explain the stability of the solar system. With the knowledge and understanding that he had, as vast and as great as it was, he came to the end of his understanding, and he posited God. He put God there as a reason for the stability of the solar system, because according to the math that he had developed and he understood, the solar system should have collapsed into the sun or spun off into the universe. He could not figure out how our planetary system had maintained its stability for so long. And so he put God out there. He said, well, I don't understand. God must be keeping the solar system in balance. And then along comes another mathematician that built on what Newton had done, developed some more elegant equations to understand multiple vortex gravitational systems, and I don't have that math. But all of a sudden, we have a reason, a mathematical model to explain solar system stability. God gets pushed out further now. We don't need God to keep the solar system stable. We've got the math to do it. So today's Darwinists are saying that that's what our contemporary intelligent design movement is nothing more than one more picture of the God of the Gaps. But I disagree with that for the following reason. It's because, for instance, when Newton invoked God, it was based on what he did not understand. Our contemporary intelligent design movement is not based on what we don't understand. It's based on what we understand. It's not based on ignorance. It's based on knowledge and light. So this is where I see the contemporary God of the Gaps argument as a fallacy. Because let's examine where we are. Let's examine where we are in terms of humanity's understanding about the universe. We have a fairly sophisticated understanding of where we're living, of life. On the macro scale, we've gone to almost the edges of the universe, and we have seen a microwave background radiation noise from every direction, and we've plotted it, and we've come to understand that that's a result of the initial moment of creation. And shrinking down from the edges of the galaxy, where we come in and we understand now the mathematics that govern the shapes of galaxies. We know that there's supermassive black holes, and we're starting to unravel the math of a supermassive black hole and event horizons. We're developing a fairly understanding of the life cycle of stars, and we've the orbits and all these things. We've got a fairly sophisticated understanding of the entire periodic table of elements. We know that the universe acts the same everywhere. We've developed really incredible math about the size of the universe based on our understanding of gravity. We know about how much the universe weighs. Can you imagine? I mean, that's amazing that we got there. Now, on the micro scale, we have broken apart. We've shattered the atom. We've broken it apart. And then we've discovered that those little parts, the proton, neutron, and electron, are made up of even smaller parts. And we've entered the quantum realm. In fact, that's one of the understandings, sophisticated understanding of our universe, is that it's quantized, that it's digital, that it's pixelated, that there are discrete units of information, that we can't get smaller in time or in size. And we've discovered that this whole quantum realm is a really bizarre place. And we're smashing protons and photons into each other with these super accelerators, and so we have a fairly sophisticated understanding of the universe now. Of course, there's more that we don't know than what we do. But what I want to suggest to you as another way of seeing what this discussion is all about, the question of origins. What I want you to imagine is a big wall. Think of a wall the size of, say a basketball gymnasium at your high school. Big wall, 3 stories tall or whatever. And along the top of the wall, I want you to put in 3-foot letters, how did we get here? ? And then just put a thick line of paint right down the middle. Go across the basketball floor and put a door number 1 over here on the left and a door number 2 over here on the right. And over door number 1, what I want you to do is write accident proposition. And over door number 2, what I want you to write design proposition. All right? Now let's take a look. When we open up door number 1, what do we find behind door number 1? We find inky blackness, so thick and so dark that if you were to shine a laser beam into it, the laser would not even penetrate. If you were to put your tip of your finger into that inky blackness, it would disappear. It represents total and complete ignorance of how we got here. The Darwinist, the accident proposition, offers nothing in terms of explanation of how did life begin. They got nothing. They're crossing their fingers behind their backs, hoping that somewhere behind door number 1 will emerge a heretofore unexamined realm of science that will explain complexity, that information can emerge from nothing. They're crossing their fingers and whistling in the dark, hoping that something will come out of door number 1 that will explain how we got here without the need of a creator. Because you got to ask anyone, how did life begin? They're just riffing. They're just spitballing about the self-replicating molecules, and they got nothing. They're just riffing. They got nothing. Okay, let's go step over to door number 2 and let's open that one up and let's take a look at what we see behind door number 2. What we see behind door number 2 is not inky blackness. It's foggy. It's mist and fog and vague shapes that are you're maybe you can kind of get an idea of what that shape is, because this is where we're finding out that the cellular matrix, the fundamental building block of life, is a cell. And this is where we're finding out that, wow, that's pretty remarkable. We've got machines doing work. We got little transport machines. We've got scaffolding highways that break down upon themselves according to feedback loops. We've got closed loops. We've got error correcting software. We've got power plants and assembly lines, and we've got the design center. We've got outboard motors, and we know what this stuff is because we've made clunky versions of it in our world. So these things begin to look like systems that we recognize that are a result of design. And this is where I say that behind door number 2, you've got explanatory power there. We can infer design because we're designers. The human race, we build things. We are engineers. It's part of our DNA. And so when we see within DNA the evidence of all these things, systems that we are familiar with because we've made them, wow, that's a powerful implication to design. That's why I say this is contemporary. The contemporary intelligent design movement is not based on what we don't know. It's based on what we know. So I have a real problem, and I know that there are scientists and that are closet design guys, and women too. I know it. I know that you're out there. You know, come over to the design team. It's not going to shut down science. You know, it'll be an exploration. But you know, and this is the thing too, is that we find the intelligent design team, the scientists, the top thinkers who've shifted camps over to intelligent design have many times come kicking and screaming. You know, the claw marks along the basketball floor as they're being drugged inexorably by their own objectivity and their own ability to see a thing for what it is over to the design side. And I know there's guys out there, you know, scientists out there, oh, look at those whirling machines. Oh, machines, I can't say that. That would imply design. I mustn't see design. Oh, help me, Jesus. Oh, what have I said? It's like, oh. We must constantly remind ourselves that we are examining systems that give the appearance of design without actually having been designed. Oh, thank you, Mr. Dawkins. You've restored my faith in absolutely nothing. I can continue my research and completely ignore what is glaringly apparent. Yes, you may. Carry on. I'm serious, people. It's gotten ridiculous. It really has. And if the consequences weren't so weighty and huge, it would be laughable. Because I see consequences. I told you that this is not a light issue. This is not just a tempest in a teapot. There's reasons why I'm worked up about this. Because there is consequences not only for me, but for the human race. So if you're out there, guys, you know, you closet intelligent design guys, come on out. We know you're there. Help us out. Come on. Get on the winning team. God's not worried in the least. You know, Darwin hasn't threatened God at all. Darwin's theory is on its deathbed. He's got those little, rubber tubes up his nose. He's in a coma. He's completely unaware of what's taking place. He's got constant attendance, nurses and physicians, keeping it going, keeping it alive. So, anyhow, I hope this will give you some food for thought. and I hope you come on over. The water's fine.